I
Yeah.
am so excited. Kim, who is a Dream Body Code coach. Also, I love your title. Like, I don't think I knew your evolved title, but I love like the Dream Body Codes vibe.
Yeah.
Like, that's good.
Thank you.
So Kim is joining me today to talk about her experience inside of Magnify, Manifest, Receive.
Yeah.
Because I know you called in that like 14K that all came at once, and you also called in some additional women into your new group program, which was exciting. And then
Yeah.
I remember that you did Money Queen ages ago.
I did.
And I was like, oh, and she had a powerful, I can't remember. I think you called in like 3,500,
Yeah.
4K
It
in
was,
Money
yeah,
Queen.
it was, yeah, a high paying client. Yep. I did.
Okay, so that was amazing. So anyhow, so today I'm excited to share Kim and her experience and her work with you. And for all of those who you are like thinking about Magnify, Manifest, Receive, because it's such a fucking vibe.
Yeah.
And before we go there, can we talk about Money Queen? Because obviously I do a lot of these lives around like my larger immersions, but Money Queen is such a vibe, and the results that come out of that container are so wild and so impactful. So for anyone who is not fully ready for Magnify, Manifest, Receive for whatever reason, I definitely highly recommend that you get inside Money Queen. And before we get there, I was rushing because I'm excited. But Kim, can you please introduce yourself and like your background, what you do, and kind of what brought you into my world?
Yeah, so hi guys. I'm Kim. I guess I would call myself a health and wellness coach, but I specifically focus on weight loss transformation. The way that I found you, Jocelyn, was I really can't even quite remember, but I know it was definitely through Ingrid Arna, if everyone is familiar with her. I worked with Ingrid. That was my first like entry into like this world. So I worked with her, and then some way somehow you ended up on my page, or I found you, and I don't know, like I was just like like just so drawn to you. I'm like, I love this woman. I'm like, whenever Jocelyn's on, I'm like, oh, she's like, I'm on. I'm like, I just loved listening to you every time you were on, and you just like raised my vibe every single time I would hear you come on. I'm just like, oh, she's like water to my soul, like quenching me. Like I don't know what it is. I hardly really know what she does, but I know I need to listen to her anytime she's on. So that was my introduction. And I was like, I need to work with this woman some way, somehow. And then I found out about Money Queen, and I bought that, and yeah, the results were amazing. Like they were pretty much instantaneous. That was my first high paying client, was through Money Queen. I did all the work that was in there, and it just like cracked my whole mind open. And I remember going into this call with that client and just feeling just so like boom, it's done, like in the bag. And it was like it was the easiest thing I had ever done. And yeah, that was my introduction to your world. And I was just like, and it's so funny because I think after that, it was kind of scary for me. I'm like, this was too easy. It's too good to be true. Like, what the heck? And so I think a lot of women, especially in MMR, a lot of women like talk about that, where they have that experience of, coming into your energy or using, your work and having those experiences and then feeling that like contraction. So I definitely felt that. And I was like, can I repeat this? Like, what do I do now? So of course, like we went on and worked together one to one, and that was amazing. And then I ended up in MMR.
And then in one to one, that was really getting you because you joined. I had that like quick 6 week container that I did at one stage, and that was the one that you were in. So I remember
Yeah,
in that time, we really built out like the structure of your business and your larger group program offering, etc., is what I
yeah.
remember from that experience. And then what led you into joining Magnify, Manifest, Receive?
I just knew that I needed to do some deeper money work. I hear like background garble. I don't know if you can hear it. If you can't, that's
A
fine.
little
I'll
bit,
deal
but
with
I
it.
can understand you.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool. Um, yeah, I just knew I needed to do more money work, and I just felt like I just needed to open up my energies more to like receiving. And again, I didn't know what that was that I needed to do, but I just knew that I wanted to continue in your energy because even when we did our one-to-one work, I always felt like things were always shifting every time we worked together. And so I was like, I'm definitely getting in this group immersion. I feel like it's something there that I need to like grasp onto more. And again, like I didn't know all the details. I don't know what it was about necessarily, but I just knew that I needed it. And if anything that I feel like you taught me, even like in Money Queen and even in our one-to-one, was just like, if something is drawing you, like you don't always need to know all the details. Just go. Like just go. And so that's what I did. And so I ended up in MMR.
So can you share about your experience in MMR? Because I know that you were going through some really powerful, like, and really big life transitions at the
Yeah.
time. And you like would kind of make me laugh because with every transmission, you'd be like, oh my God, like something in your life would directly relate to kind of like what I was teaching and what you
Yeah.
ladies were receiving every week inside the container. And so I'd love to hear from you if you could share with everyone kind of like how the experience was for you inside MMR.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, it's so funny now,
And how
like,
you would explain it to someone, because I feel like something that's really interesting about my work, like what you were saying, people have these results and they're like, wait, this was too easy. Like, wasn't I
yeah,
supposed to work harder for this? Like, wasn't this supposed to be complicated? And then so you get it, and then you're like, wait a minute, what? You know, so we
yeah,
have to continuously show back up in the energies. And this is why I offer lifetime access. I'm like, no, it's not too easy. This is like actually how it gets
yeah,
to be. It's just that everything you learned was a lie. And I'm teaching you how to like play in the quantum and play in the void. And I do make it digestible and understandable. And like we do energy coding and all these things. So you can actually like embody the frequencies, but in a way it can feel like a little bit the results are not intangible, the results are very tangible, but you're sort of like, what am I stepping into? And to your point, when we follow desire, you find out and get the results.
yeah, exactly. And I love that you brought that up because going into that, like, I think if anything that I learned from MMR and like my biggest takeaway was not letting yourself be so in a box about where abundance comes from or how it should show up. Because when I entered MMR, I'm thinking, okay, my business, and like I really wanted to like really like pick up and do, all these things. And it's so funny how the universe works, of course. What I had been going through at the moment, it just lined up so perfectly with MMR. To get into more detail about that, I was going through a separation and now eventual into a divorce. And that in itself just cracked open so much about my limitation of abundance going through that. And I'm thinking I'm going into MMR to like, oh yeah, so I'm working on my business and this is going to be all about like my business. And it was not about that at all. It really ended up being about really me, like being like in the receiving mode of abundance in all areas. Because of course, if anyone is on here watching this and you've gone through a divorce, especially as a woman, if you spent your so many years, it was 16-year marriage. I spent that time being very dependent on someone else and very just like, okay, I got my thing going on, but like I feel safe, I'm cool, I got this going on. And then when it's just stops, and things happen, money games start, people start playing money games, and it, like just was full of fear. Basically, I was in full of so much fear, and it just feeling like, oh my God, well, what am I going to do? How am I going to support my kids? Like, where am I going to live? What's going to happen? Like all of these things. So I was just so like wound up that I was going into MMR thinking, okay, this is just about my business bringing more money in, when really it really turned out to be more about me allowing abundance to show up to me in any and every kind of way. And it's possible. And like now I don't worry. Like I don't worry. I'm like, cool. And so in that too, it relaxes my energy to be more creative in my business as well. So it's not like my mind is constantly thinking about, all right, well, what do I got to do so I can get this up off the ground and like make the money? And instead, I'm like going into that like feminine energy of being like relaxed, like the money's taken care of. It's fine. It's cool. Like just work on like really making this juicy and making this really, good for your potential clients. And so, yeah. And I don't know if you want to go into detail yet about like what actually happened to manifest that
Go
14,000,
for
because
it,
it was
girl.
just
Go for it.
crazy. So it was so crazy. So I'm
Well,
like,
before you get to it, though, I want to say this, right? Because like
yeah,
we come in, we're like, for the business, for the business, for the business. And we
Yeah.
find out like it's not about the business, it's about you, right?
Yeah.
Like I always say, and I shared a post on Instagram yesterday, I'm like, you are the source of everything.
Yeah.
Everything in your life is a reflection of you and what the
Yeah.
energy that you're carrying.
Yeah.
So it's like when we want to quantum leap our money, when we want to receive more, it's about like the energetic game that's happening here, which is why when we simply go out and only try to execute strategy, only learn strategy, one, we're tired as fuck because it's
Yeah.
like, because it's an endless game. Like there's so many strategies. And like I teach strategy, but like specifically in alignment with my clients, right? Because everybody's energy body is different. But that aside, there are endless numbers and ways of doing things, and they all work because they worked for whoever is teaching them, right? I realize all my clients aren't like me exactly, so I'm not going to have people do exactly what I do and that's it, only whatever. Like, not about that game.
Yeah.
But like, so the cycle of wanting to create success through doing alone, to me, quickly leads to burnout, exhaustion, feelings of not enoughness, not feeling confident around what you are doing because the energy behind it isn't firm and it's not clear. When you actually play the energy game and right, we're getting you in the frequencies of abundance in all the ways, like you start creating it everywhere, including in your business. And then we
Yeah.
don't have all these questions around how, because you're so fucking aligned. And obviously, like you worked with me, you worked with Ingrid, like you learned more than enough business strategy to be successful, you know? So
Yeah.
that was already there. I'm not saying we don't learn it. We have to learn it. Like if you don't have the foundation, it's going to be rocky. But like, let's say foundation in place, or we're taking steps to also do that, it really becomes an energy game. And so you take out, when you align this way, you take out so much of the stress around doing and like, did I say it right? Like, am I doing it right? Like all those things that make us want to basically like die inside the business and it's no fun anymore.
Yeah.
So and Molly, who I interviewed last 2 nights ago on her experience at MMR, she was like, oh my gosh, it was the same thing. I was coming in thinking like, oh, we're just going to talk about money the whole time. I'm like, actually, it's upgrading you, which then
Yeah.
aligns you with the money, you know?
Exactly. Yeah.
And like, of course, we talk about business, etc., but it's really powerful that you're kind of reflecting the same thing. So yes, please,
Yeah. And
please
I
do.
didn't even
Thank you
see
for
her. So
sharing about your divorce too, because this is
yeah.
also why I titled the live like that. You also claimed your sovereignty. One, because something you wrote in your testimonial was that you no longer worry about money, which is like, how many people can actually raise their hand and say that? Not many. And you came in very worried about money. And
Yeah.
like you were literally going through the process of like, oh my gosh, this person is not going to be financially supporting me anymore. So I actually need to be sovereign. I'm talking about sovereignty always. Like it's so important,
Yeah.
even if you are happily married and the person's providing for you. Like we want to feel sovereign, right? Rather than like
Yeah.
dependent in our relationships. And so I feel like you just sort of like fully claimed your place as like the source of providing for yourself, and the universe now feels that certainty off of you. And so you really began to attract with so much ease. So tell, because I remember like your 14K story, and then also while we were inside the container, I remember you had gone on a vacation. You were doing like a girls' weekend and just like in
Yeah.
your own fucking vibes, chilling. And you said to us on one of the calls, you were like, "Oh my gosh, these people just keep reaching out about my program. I'm like not even doing anything."
Yeah. 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 That started happening too. And again, I'm implementing and I'm seeing like how everything that you're speaking about every week is just aligning with my current experiences. And even going back to how this for me, it was not even about the business. So I'm getting people like inquiring and wanting to know, but because my energy was just not there to hold that space to like run a group and a program, because like my mind is just like, all right, my marriage is over. And like now I'm figuring all this out. And like I couldn't even like bring those people in to support them. So it's kind of like whatever. But it was more like having them reaching out and asking all the questions was like, wow, this is like a confirmation for me that I don't have to be doing. It's just that energy that's bringing the people to me. So that was really great. But I want to go back again, though, to kind of like what you were talking about before about it's not really about the business, but it's about this energy, and it's not about like all that doing and having, okay, the strategy. And it aligns so much with what I teach my women and my girls about transformation and weight loss. And it's the same thing that I went through when I made my 100 pound transformation. My work is to show women that this has nothing to do with the weight. It has everything to do with the energy that you're carrying behind that weight. Like, what are the stories behind that weight? Who is that fantasy woman that you want to become that you are covering up and covering up and covering up constantly with food? So when women come to me, they're like, cool, do you have like a meal plan and da da da? I'm like, babe, like you've been down this road plenty of times. All of us women have done all of the diets and all of the things. If you're still in this place where you're stuck, just know it has nothing to do with that. This is the inner work that we need to work on. And all
And
that
I
stuff
remember
just
I'd
becomes
always tell you, I'm
easy.
like, babe, your work around fitness is like my work around money, you
Yeah,
know?
yeah.
This is not like, oh, put yourself on a budget. Like, no,
No,
that is
no,
not
no.
what's going to get you rich. Yeah.
It's not. It's not. And I remember saying in one of my stories maybe a week or two ago how, so many people are so consumed with like, I want to get to the end goal. I want to get to the 50 pound loss, the 100 pound loss or whatever. And then I'm going to be happy and everything's going to be great. I'm like, that's not really what it was because I did that myself. I could lose 20, 30, 40. I've lost 80 pounds before and regained it all back. But that wasn't it. It was about like really framing like this life that you want to have, this person that you want to be, and understanding that that stuff in the middle that you want to skip over so badly and just get to the end, that's the stuff that you want to embrace and be easy and just feel like whatever. And then that result just happens to come, but you have to make peace with that middle part, that inner work part, so that you can eventually get the result. And at some point, you even stop caring about the end result because you know it's going to come. But you want to like really love and get into that middle stuff because you're going to have to keep doing that middle stuff when you get to the end result. So let's figure it out now. Let's make peace with it now.
And the way that I like frame that in my money world is like getting comfortable in the void, getting comfortable in the middle space, right? Where like
Yeah.
we're in the space between where we are now and where we're desiring to go, and how you collapse the time to arrive at the desire, whether it be in money, whatever, is like
Yeah.
how you show up in the liminal
Yeah.
space.
Yeah. Yeah, it's so true. And that's even more what I feel like you taught me too, is just like
And
being
then
in the
that like I
now.
teach you how to actually do it. So you're not
Yeah,
like,
and teaching us
I'm in the liminal space, now what the fuck do I do?
now what do I do? Yeah, but like trusting that it's gonna come. Like just be okay with that now space, that uncomfortability, because a lot of the stuff is like it didn't feel easy, like having these thoughts now about money, but it was something like all the way from Money Queen up until now that I just had to keep practicing. Was it perfect? No, but it was something that was consciously on my mind that I had to keep practicing. And the more I practiced it, it was like incremental how how much I would receive, let's say. And now this 14K and more manifestation, like my manifestations are just even bigger now. So it's
Can we
just
talk
like,
about the 14K
yeah,
and the and more since I've last talked to you?
yes, yes, yes. Let's talk about it. Okay, so um gosh, where do I start? So I was like, like no money. Like had nothing going on. And I'm like all in this space of just like, working on myself, especially in MMR with like my energy around money and being like, Kim, everything's going to be fine. You're supported in all ways. Like the universe loves you and supports you, all of that. And I remember I was at the gym that day when we ended up speaking later on. And I was talking with a friend and I was saying like, girl, like I'm just like, he's playing all these money games and it's like he's denying me this and denying it and doing all this. And I'm like, it's fine. Like I let it go. I'm fine with it. Like I know like divine source is my source and he is not my source. I'm cool with it. And girl, I have nothing in the bank, quote unquote, to even feel comfortable, right? But that's the point. It's like being comfortable and like it not being there and knowing that it'll be there when it needs to be there. And so I remember that moment exactly. I got in my car and I opened up my bank account. I was just checking my account balance. I don't even know why I checked it. I just checked it. And it was $14,500 deposited into your account. I was like, wow. And it felt like, it didn't even feel like a surprise. It just felt like, yeah, of course. Of
You're
course
like,
it's
this is
good.
what I planned all along. And it was funny
Yeah,
because you messaged me and you said that you'd said to your friend that no man was going to be the source of your fucking money. And I'm like, you're the
exactly.
source of the money. And you did
Yeah,
the work. You claimed it, and you claimed
I
it with
claimed it.
like, you were like, you were serious, obviously. And then literally called in 14,500 like in one go.
In one go, just opened up my account and the money was there. And I was just like, holy shit.
I
And then
fucking love it.
what the crazy, and then moving on with the story, like the crazy part after that was that, so I made, you want to get in, like, do you want to get in all the details?
Go
Because
for
I'm
it.
okay
Yeah,
with
I
it.
don't know all of this. I want to
So
hear
I
it.
made my last payment for Money Queen,
You mean
not Money
Magnify,
Queen,
Manifest, Receive?
Magnify and Manifest
Yeah.
Receive. I made my last payment through a credit card that I'd always had used, in our family, that I'd always been using. And we had even talked about this, he and I, my ex. We had talked about this, and he's like, "Oh yeah, you charged this on the card." It's like, "Yeah, I did." And didn't think anything of it. It was fine, right? And so I find out
Oh yeah.
you messaged me literally, you literally messaged me probably 5 minutes after that deposit, that I saw that deposit in my account. And you're like, "Hey, Queen, like something happened on like that thing." So basically it was reported, and it was like, you
He like
know,
tried to cancel it and say it
yeah,
wasn't real.
he tried to cancel my payment. And I was like, oh, but the crazy part about it, Jocelyn, was like, I was feeling so like, cool, it's fine. Like
You're like, I
it
got
was
money. I
fine.
don't care. I don't need you.
I got the money. I don't need you. I'll pay her and I'll pay you. What else do you need? Like that's how I felt about it.
And
And I
that
was
is
just
what we
so,
call fuck you money. We all
yeah,
want fuck you money.
exactly. And I'm like, I don't need to argue with you about it. It is what it is. But I felt more worried about like, oh shit, I don't want to mess up like, your whole system, what you got going on. Of course,
It's
you always
fine. That
know
was the first time that's ever happened in my whole
I
business.
know, and
You're
I'm like,
good.
oh, like I feel terrible, and I'm like, you jerk, no, no. But I was like, it's fine, it's gonna be okay. And so, what I cleared that all up, and yeah, I was like, I just was on cloud nine, like it didn't even bother me. So, it just goes to show, like how freeing it can be just to, hey, things are going to happen. It's not like, we're going to live in la la land and everything's going to go perfectly. No, it's not going to go perfectly, but it's trusting that source is always there, and that and things are happening for a reason. You have no idea. You have no idea why timing is happening the way it's happening, but it always works out. And then going on, I ended up manifesting like, and this has nothing to do with my business, because at this point I'm just like, I'm having hot girl summer. I'm not gonna lie. Like I'm like
You're
chilling.
like,
I'm
I
like,
don't even want to work. I'm just
I
gonna
don't want
manifest
to work.
money and not work.
Yeah, like I'm like, I don't want to work. Like I'm like, get this divorce. I'm like, I'm having a great time. I'm in Vegas. Like I'm enjoying myself fully. I'm like, my mom and dad, my sister, like I am supported. Like, and the crazy part is like not just with money that I really started embracing being supported by the universe, but with people around me. And you talk about this all the time. Like women, we're always in this space of needing to feel like we've got to be superwoman and do everything on my own and like prove something to the world. And I really just, like the last few months, I've really gotten rid of that energy and just been like, if someone is offering helping me with my children, or like my sisters are so obsessed with my kids, they like make their lunch like they do. I'm like, cool. Like they love it. Like I love it too. Like they help me. Like I'm here for it. And so accepting help and abundance in all areas, and just really being in that receiving mode, going on dates, whatever it is. I don't care. Like I'm taking it all. Like my friends are taking me out to dinner. So I'm not even asking, like, I want to take you to dinner. I'm like, cool, I'm there. Like, oh, like it could be something as simple as like, oh, you don't have to pay for that. Like I'm in the store and someone's being like super nice, like things like that. But the thing is, like in those moments too, like really acknowledging source in the universe and really being like, yeah, source always takes care of me. I don't care if it's a pack of gum or whatever it is. Like I'm I'm in the receiving mode. I'm accepting it, and I'm loving every bit of it. I got a $3 check in the mail. I'm celebrating it. I literally got a $3 check in the
I love
mail.
it, girl. Celebrate the $3 like you celebrated the 14K. This
Yeah,
is the
I'm
vibe.
celebrating all
Yeah.
of it. So I ended up getting another 750, that $3 check. And yeah, and just, abundance is just showing up in all ways. And I just feel like, yeah, timing
I
is
just really
everything.
love this because so many people would not think, obviously, like we're building our businesses and like that's what we came for, and then when you do actually have the energy to focus on your business again, it'll just start coming through your business. Just
Yeah.
right now you don't, and you're having fun and
Yeah.
whatever it is, and you already saw that it come through because when you were doing Money Queen it came directly through your business.
Yeah,
That's where
I've
your
seen it
focus.
come through my business, so I know it's possible. That's how I was saying, like, timing is perfect. Like, I know it could come through my business, and any of us can like, chalk it up to, oh, I did something. But I really love how Source, Universe, God was really showing me that no, it's not always about you, sister. Calm down. Like, I take care of you and always. Like, and here it
Well, you
is. So it's like,
became something, right?
yeah,
And you stepped in energetically to a woman who like expects to be supported in all the
yeah,
ways. And so what's
yeah,
happening, even when you're not focused on your business because of life circumstance and you want to break and you want to have fun, like isn't it a fucking vibe that you still call in thousands and thousands of dollars?
yeah,
And
yeah,
all of the receiving through your personal life.
yeah. It
I
is.
love this. This is amazing because like no one wants to work all the time. Like,
No,
and that's why I always tell, keep saying it. Money is not responding to what you do. Like, yes, to a point, but it's responding to who you are,
it
what
is.
you
Yeah,
be. Not about you being a good person or a bad person, but I'm talking about like the energetic alignment that you have with basically expecting to receive large amounts of money, no
yeah,
matter whether it be like through your business, through Miracle Money. I mean, I've seen it all with my clients. It's literally come from everywhere under the sun.
yeah. Yeah, it has. My friend is on here too, the one that was at the gym, Meech.
Oh my
Hey,
gosh, yes. I
Michelle. She
love
was like, "Yeah,
that.
you were having a hot girl summer." Yes, I
Yes,
was.
yes. Oh, this
Yeah.
is so beautiful, Kim. Well, what would you have to say to anyone who's thinking about joining Magnify, Manifest, Receive, on the fence about it, or thinking about joining Money Queen? What would your words of advice be?
If you even feel like a little bit like this is something that you would want to do, just go and do it. Like, you need like no details. If you want to go read the details, go read them. Great. I'm the type of person that like I'm fully like energy, and I just do things when I feel like it's pulling me. It's right. Like, I don't need to know like every single darn detail. Surprise me. I like surprises. But yeah, I would say just jump in and do it, and be completely open to it not even being exactly what you think it's going to be. Just really be in the receptive mode of like what your current life circumstance is and how you can apply this to all areas of your life. But just do it. Like, you will not regret it. There's nothing to regret about it. There's nothing to even think about. I would just do it. Yeah.
And it's so cool too because also all of this happened. So I know you had your what went on with Money Queen, and then we built your program together. But then this like real acceleration that you had, where you basically what like quadrupled the results that you were had received from Money Queen.
Yeah.
Like this all happened inside an 8-week period. This didn't take a
Yeah.
long time.
No, it doesn't take a long time at all. It did not take a long time at all. It was crazy. Yeah, and I didn't even realize or even think about it. But yeah, when I really think about it, like all of this work that I had been doing, it was in such a short period of time. And when I think of when I was doing things like this without support, like even in my health and wellness journey, like doing things just like being self-taught and just like figuring it out, or like because I don't want to invest, or oh, I can figure it out, I can do it, and like doing it like what now I see is like the dumb hard way. Like, the slower my results will come. Like, yeah, they came, and that's one of the things that even I really try to get across to my clients is that, listen, if someone can give you their 10-year playbook and collapse it down for you in a 6 or 12 week period, why wouldn't you take it for that amount of money, whatever? It's nothing. Like, I spent this kind of money in like a month on like clothes, like,
Like
whatever.
literally. Yeah.
Literally on
That
clothes.
you
I,
don't
I can
even
spend
wear
that kind of money
anymore.
on food in 2 months. Like, food, So yeah, just do it. Like, don't hesitate.
How
It's
did
it's worth
you
it.
so obviously um everyone walks through some investing fears pretty much
Yeah.
until you get really used to like, oh wait, this is a vibe. I'm getting results. This is a vibe. I like this.
Uh-huh.
I'm gonna keep going. But how did you walk through that for yourself? Like in working with me privately, I know Money Queen is self lower investment, like in my business, but in working with me
Yeah.
privately, even Magnify, Manifest, Receive is definitely my most accessible offer for how much live time you receive from me as well.
Yeah.
Like what was that like for you? Because I'm sure you had some fear come up because the place you're in now wasn't the place that you were in before we started the work.
Yeah, I would say like, doing Money Queen, it was like, okay, cool, I can manage that. Like we all have like this ceiling,
Yep.
right, where
Yeah.
we feel comfortable. So like Money Queen was like, okay, it's a little bit something, but it's like, whatever.
Which is why,
But yeah,
hello, no brainer, ladies, please.
yeah,
Like,
at least do Money Queen. Like if you're gonna do anything, at least do Money Queen.
yeah.
But yeah,
And the
like doing
results are like
our one
instant.
to one. Yeah, it helped first of all that you offered a payment plan, so that was awesome. So I
Yeah.
could like ease into it, and then like knowing that I'm investing my money into like every month, and like eventually going into the work, like that helped a lot too. But just using the proof from even my other parts of my life to say that, like, listen, when you invest in yourself, it always pays off double, triple, whatever. And it's not necessarily you're going to see it like in the exact moment. It's these quantum leaps that show up later on. And that's why you don't give up on yourself so easily. Like, oh my God, I did all of this. Like, I've been working out for a month. How come I don't have abs yet? Like, no, girl, you're building the foundation for it. Like, oh, I'm eating healthy. I should have lost like 20 pounds. No, you're building the foundation for that quantum, like, oh, shoot, my body's like, okay, cool, we're here. This is who we are now,
I
So,
love this.
for,
This is called emotional resilience.
yeah, yeah, you just keep building that proof in your mind that like, no, I've done this before. I've been here. And again, you've always taught me that, you know, I can't remember the exact words you used, but like basically, something like money or abundance always follows like taking the leap. I'm completely
Oh, how
butchering
I
what you
say
do
that
say.
like everything we experience is a result of like our energies and our energy and actions from the past and it culminates in the now, or like how the energy builds and then the like domino effect happens.
No,
Like,
it's like you have this way to say it where it's like, taking that when it feels uncomfortable and taking that leap and
yeah.
how money
Well,
follows
leaning
that.
into our edges is always the fucking vibe. If we don't
Yeah.
lean into the edges, there's no magic. There's no
Yeah.
magic in
Money,
your comfort zone. Never happening.
right. Yeah. And money
Yeah.
follows that. And so obviously with my investment in our one-to-one and in Money Queen, I'm saying Money Queen, our investment in my investment in our one-to-one and MMR, yeah, it was just proof of that. Like, yeah, it can show up here. Like you can be spending that money here and investing it here, but then you have these quantum like jumps because money, like you taking that chance, it follows, it equals out. It's gonna match that and more. So yeah, you make a small
100%.
investment, you're gonna get like a small as a small reaction back or whatever. But the universe always matches our energy basically. So
And money is energy, right? And you're
money
learned
is
to
energy.
move with it that way. It sounds a little like ethereal, but I'm like, no, no, it's real.
Yeah, it
It's
is.
definitely
It is.
real. So beautiful, Kim.